Hey guys, it's Jeremy again. We're going to do another lap guide video. Today we are at Road Atlanta. We're driving the Chevrolet Corvette Z06 GT3R. We're running a setup of my own design. It's something I've been working on the past couple days. I think I finally got it dialed into this little sweet spot here. We started a test session off of Saturday's race session, so weather, track conditions, all that jazz are pretty much what we're going to be dealing with come race time on Saturday. We were able to pull off a 1 minute 16.876. So pretty quick lap around here. Anything in the low to mid 17s is a quick lap around Road Atlanta. So if you're able to dip into the 16s or lower in these GT3 cars, you are flying. We're going to run this lap guide the same way we did all of our lap guides in the past. We're just going to run this lap at speed, and then we'll break it down and try and point out some of the key areas of the lap that you're going to focus on. Without further ado, let's hit it. And across the line. So, as you can see, we're able to pull off that 1:16.876. It's a really good lap around here. There are a couple spots that I didn't exactly get the way I wanted, which is promising. Shows me there's a little bit more in there. I just got to put it all together. Try and point out those areas that you're going to want to focus on. Road Atlanta is an interesting lap in the sense that you really need to nail this final sector to set up your lap. It can cost you a tenth or more down this little mini straight leading into turn one. You really want to focus on getting a good run up the hill coming out of 10B, that final right-hander out of that chicane, before you come up over the hill. It does really set you up for a good run down the front straight. Coming down the front straight is pretty straightforward. You're just going to keep the car down the left-hand side of the road. I try and avoid going off into the grass here on the left. I found that I pick up way too much debris on the left side tires, and I'm about to ask a lot of them going into turn one. Right about where the grass ends is where I'll set up my braking zone. You see I start getting on the brakes just past where the grass has ended, nice and easy onto the brakes just to get the weight onto the front tires. And then we're kind of coaxing the car into the right here. We don't want to turn too hard, too fast, otherwise the back end's going to come around on you. And you also don't want to scrub off too much speed. This is an interesting kind of corner. I've found that kind of floating through and just carrying as much momentum as possible into the corner and then powering the rest of the way through is the best bet for me. But there's more than one way to fuck a spider, right? So we're working our way around the right here. I didn't exactly get to keep the car as tight as I wanted to up the hill, but it was okay because we're carrying a lot of speed through, so I just let it carry out to the left. Hard on the throttle. Working our way up the hill. I kind of cheat back to the middle here. And then we're setting up our run into the S's. As soon as the track levels out here at the top of the crest, I start getting on the brakes. Nice and easy on the brakes, but deliberate. You'll see the car kind of kicks out. The back end kicks out to the right, and now we're pointing a little bit further left than we'd like to. You're going to get light coming up over that crest, and so it's important to be smooth on the brakes. If you get too hard on them, you're going to shift way too much weight forward on the car, and you're not going to have any grip on the rear end, and it's going to come around on you. Setting up this first right-hander, this little chunk of concrete that's sticking out of the dirt here. I try and keep my right side tires on there. I can go over there a little bit, but I found if you go too far over to the right, you'll pick up an off track. Mounting up over that curb, leading us straight over to the curb on the left-hand side. From this point on, we're pretty much flat out until the end of the S's. I keep my left side tires up on this curb on the left-hand side. I've found it helps with the rotation, just initially getting the car back around to the left. The Corvette is not the biggest fan of direction changes, so any little thing that I can use to help get this thing to snap back in the other direction, I do. That being said, because you are cocking it up on the curb like that, you're putting a lot of weight on the right side tires, and you're asking a lot of them. There's a 10-degree difference from left to right so far, just after the laps that I was running. And so there isn't too much wear and tear on the right side. You can ask a lot of them through this section just because they don't get heated up that much throughout the rest of the lap. Working back over to the left, coming down the hill. Ideally, I go a little bit further over to the left to set up a better run down through this final right-hander, but I didn't quite get all the way over there. You can use quite a bit of this curb on the left. And then I set up my braking zone for turn 5 here before this final little right kink. This is the last little bit of tarmac that you really get before the corner. There's a small bit when you come off the grass here, but to really maximize your entry into 5, you want to swing out wide as you can. You're probably going to have your right side tires on the grass, and you don't really want to be braking when you're doing that. So I get my braking done here, and then we mount this curb on the right. I get my right side tires up over the curb. And then as soon as we drop down, just another little dab on the brakes to keep the weight on the front end. I try and avoid the curb on the left-hand side just because it unsettles the car so much. But as you can see here, I hit it and we're kind of bouncing as a result. It pushes us a little further wide than I'd liked, but it's okay. We've got a whole lot of runoff to play with on the exit of 5 here. You can use all of this painted curbing section. You don't really pick up an off track till you run out into the gravel. So you can see we just walk the car all the way out to the right-hand side of the road and getting it back on the line before the road ends. Got a little mini straight down here on our way to turn 6. Keeping the car down the left-hand side. Right around the 200 meter board is where I'm starting my braking. Nice and smooth onto the brakes, coaxing it down into 4th. And now we're just letting braking rotate the car around the corner. And we're going to slide the momentum out to the left-hand side of the road. And that brings us to the most crucial, at least in my opinion, this is the most crucial corner at this track as far as, 1, defending any moves going into the chicane, and 2, really pulling that lap time together. Getting a good run out of turn 7 sets up your run down this straightaway. This is the back straight at Road Atlanta, but it is the longest straightaway at the track. As you can see, it takes up a really good chunk of the track's total distance. A lot of time can be lost if you get a bad exit out of here. It's a tough one to get set up because, as you can see, we're setting the corner up here. We're already on the brakes, but we have no visual on the apex yet. We can't see our actual corner. We can just see our entry here. Keep the car over to the left-hand side of the road, down into 2nd, and as soon as we've got eyes on our line around the curb, I start rotating the car in, and my goal is to kind of hook it around this curb here. I don't want to touch it just because if I get up on that curb, we're going to create that traction loss. It's going to unsettle the car, and it's really going to compromise our exit and our run onto this back straight. And so you can see we just hook it around the curb here. As soon as I've got the front end rotated around and I can tell that the back end is complying and we're not breaking traction, we're full throttle and just letting the car push as far out to the left as we can. I try and keep it on this curbing here if I can. Don't want to run out onto the dirt just because it's going to take away from that acceleration down this straightaway. Pretty straightforward here. We keep the car down the left-hand side of the road for the initial bit of the straight, and then we just kind of walk our way towards the middle. Eventually, we're going to end up over on the right-hand side of the road to set up our entrance to 10A. Downhill. This is a pretty heavy braking zone. I found that even though it's a downhill braking zone, you can go really hard on the brakes without engaging ABS. 5th, 4th, we're going to go down into 3rd. You can chop off a great deal of this apex here. Keep my right side tires pretty much on that painted white line or just over it if I can. but you can take a good chunk of this grass and dirt with you with the left side of the car. The goal is to get the car as far to the left as you can to set up a nice smooth exit up the hill. Cut back to the left, and as soon as I've got the car as far left as I'm comfortable with, and I'm starting to run out of ability to get it back over to the right here, we chop it back to the right. The same kind of mentality. You can use a decent amount of this inside curbing here, but it is going to compromise your exit if the car gets unsettled too much, and there's a lot of bumps through here, so you just want to be mindful of it going through. Fully committed to the throttle at this point and just letting the car walk its way up the hill. You can use this entire runoff on the curbing. I try again to avoid the dirt just because it's going to kill your exit acceleration. And then up and over the hill. You can short shift a little bit on this downhill and let the car's momentum just kind of push its way through the gears. You can see I don't hold forth as long as I normally do. And then this final corner here, just kind of working our way around this curb. I don't want to hit it just because if you do end up hitting that curb, it does have quite a bit of a ridge to it, as you can see, and any kind of an impact like that is going to slow your forward momentum even just a little bit, and we're trying to carry as much speed as we can onto this straightaway. As we walk around that curb, we just let it run out to the left-hand side of the road, and we're across the line. So again, we're able to pull off a 1 minute 16.876. I think track temp's right around 21 degrees or so. Not the coldest, but definitely not a hot track by any means. Hopefully this lap guide was able to find you guys some pace around here, or maybe work out some kinks that you were working on. We will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.